In today's video, we are going to do something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and we're finally going to get done to it and into it and above it and below it, and that is, we are going to work on this thing right here. Actually, that way. There we have it. Whoa! This is a Swiss Army pedal, and if you've been around here for a while, you've seen the pedal before, you know exactly what it is. It's just this little switch that I made in order to be able to try things out. It's one of those things that is super useful to have when you're building pedals and you're trying to experiment with things, when you're trying to see if you've wired up things correctly, or just want to see what happens if your guitar signal, for example, goes through a different part, like different capacitors or stuff like that, or diodes for clipping. Anyway, it's something super useful that I built. Not exactly immediately after I built it, but pretty soon after I built this many years ago. I wanted to build a new one. And the first reason is because I want to add a place up here where I can build circuits and actually experimenting with like building up my very own effects and trying to come up with something new or different, or build up a circuit instead of doing what I've done a lot on this channel, which is taking something and turning it into a pedal. It's a part of my bigger thing that I'm trying to do, which I'm not going to go into on this video. If you're interested, I'd make a separate video about that, but I just want to prepare myself for when I start doing that. I also want to start making videos where we actually build something from scratch, circuit-wise, instead of just turning something into a pedal. For a little bit more advanced guitar building, I feel like the channel is still very much in a sort of basic, let's make sure everyone can do this, but eventually I want to start making videos that are a little bit more advanced and for people that have built a couple of pedals and feel like they're ready to go forward and do more things than just turning a little LM board thing into a pedal, but actually maybe building their own entire circuit. So that's one of the reasons why I want to change this thing out. And the other one is, and this one is more for the channel than me, so when you're watching this, keep this aspect of it in mind, because you don't necessarily need to have this if you're just building it to build things for yourself. But I am also making videos, so it's for the channel and it's for your benefit. It's not for me necessarily. And that is just, it's easier sometimes. Sometimes you get confused, and when I say you, I mean you, the viewer, get confused and ask me questions, and you're like, I don't know what it is I'm looking at. And that's why, for example, right now it has the label of the in and out, and I just want to make it even easier to follow along with what it is you're seeing and what everything is. Have a lot of color-coded wires and LEDs that light up when I'm pressing the button and things like that, so you can see clearly what it is you're seeing. So there's going to be some things in here that you don't necessarily need to add. But you decide for yourself what parts you want and what parts you don't want. If neither of the things that I've just told you about, the circuit building things and the YouTube channel make it easier video thing, if neither of those are interesting to you, you can just build this thing. This has worked flawlessly since the day I made it, and it's been really good, and I don't need to change it for any other reason than my needs for it has grown past it. So in today's video we are also going to use this thing right here. It's from Play No Logic, and you don't necessarily need to have this, but as you can probably tell from the picture and from when we open this up and look at it, you get basically everything you need, and it's a good starter pack, and it fits what I need for this perfectly. So I'm gonna use this because, yeah, I get a lot of what I want, and that's good. always get a lot of what you want or what you need. So yes, we're gonna unbox this and then we're gonna jump into building this thing, and hopefully it's gonna be a lot of fun. So let's go. Okay, so here we have it. And yeah, let's open it up and see what we get. I haven't looked inside this, so it's as surprising for me. Oh, a bag of small cap, some manual of some sort. Well, I'll take a look at that later if I need to. And let's see what some control knobs or buttons, and ooh, an LED. Ooh, are these the kind of LEDs that I wanted? I actually had already bought one of these LEDs that we were gonna use, but they are in here as well. You can't really tell, most likely, but there is a 3-pin LED. Actually, they are 4-pin LEDs. But that was not what I was gonna use. But I'll use them for something else. And here's a breadboard power supply. That's good. That's very good. We need that. And electrolytic capacitors. A bag of some. Don't ask me what exactly they are, because I didn't look close enough. And some resistors. Always nice to have resistors. I'm gonna put that in my other box full of resistors. And what is this? Ooh, this is the thing that I have always wanted, or something. I think there are supposed to be 2. Yeah, wait, yeah. Here's the other one. This is the one we're gonna use for this one, I think. 2 potentiometers, 10K, yeah, 2 10K. They're not very important right now. And more electrolytic capacitors. You see, you get a lot of things. I mean, it's not a cheap kit, so it's, you know, it's... Ooh, and some LEDs. And it's the big ones that we like, so extra good, I suppose, because now I have a bunch of these that I can use. And I don't think it's been a while since I built a pedal with different kinds of like lid LEDs. So maybe I'll go back and look at some of the things I've built lately and change them out. I don't know. Depends on if they... I mean, just because they're green doesn't mean that they are a nice green, but maybe they are. Let's see. And this thing, which is... I mean, you can make one of these super easy, and you most likely should. Like if you're DIYing and building pedals and things like that, this is like one of those things that you should make. I think I've told you that in another video, like last year or something like that, but yeah. They're super easy to make. Oh, and then, let's see here. Oh, 3 bars of connectors. I never really use these sorts of things, but maybe I'll get into it, and good to have. Good to have. It's one of those things that you think you never need, and then you all of a sudden need them, and you're like, why don't I have them? And it's because you have the mentality that you don't need them. And then... Oh, it's stuck to the bottom. Here we have the connector wires that we need in order to have connector wires. Yes. If that wasn't confusing, then you're a lot smarter than I thought you were. No, I'm just kidding. That's it. The box is empty. We can throw it away. So the first thing we need to do is decide what we're going to use. Because the thing is, I want to put the board facing the right way. Now, obviously, I could put it like this. And maybe I will. I think I will, just because it makes more sense. Because I kind of want it like this, so that I have all the letters and the numbers in the right way. But when you work on one of these boards, the connections are going that way. And so, for example, if I put in an IC in the middle here, and I don't have an IC out that I can just use to show you, but I wouldn't orient it on the board like that, because that wouldn't make sense. What I would do is put it in the middle, with one side of the legs facing that direction and one of the side of the legs facing that direction. So maybe putting it like that will be better anyway. And I think I'm going to use this one. And then I'll keep this for later. And if I have to, I'll switch them out. It's not going to be that bad. I'm going to try to come up with a good way of like gluing them in place or something, so that I can take them out or take them off without too much issues. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to open this up and take a closer look. I think that's what we need to do. Yeah, and it comes with a sticky backside tape thing here, which is perfect. It's exactly what we need. And so yeah, and it has these pins on the side here, which I don't know if you can see them. Perfect for adding another one. So in worst case scenario, I'll just get one more and I can have like two next to each other. But it's let's see here, it is 8.2 there, and it's 5.5 that way. There we have it. And basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch out this board, the wooden piece here, for a new one that is a little bit bigger, both in that direction but also in that direction, so that this one can fit. So that basically it will look like this, but it will be a little bit bigger, because I also want to add an extra foot switch. This is something that Sean suggested in the comments below at another video. I think it was the video where I called the Swiss Army pedal explained. And yeah, it's one of those things where you guys are telling me things and you're suggesting things, and what you're saying makes more sense to me than the ideas I have in my own head. So good on you, Sean, for helping me out. So I'm going to take a quick break here. I'll be back in a second, but you don't have to see me look for a piece of wood that is a little bit bigger than this. And then I'm probably just going to cut with my circular saw these little things in here so I can glue these back in. And we're going to take this apart. So I'll be back and we'll take this apart. And maybe we'll paint it in a nice color, because blue was nice, but maybe the next version should be, I don't know, red or something. I'll see what paint I have. Okay, so here is the board right now. I'm not completely done with it yet, but I just wanted to show some sort of midway progress. So here's a piece of wood. Nothing fancy. I mean, it is from a 150-year-old piano that I had to trash, but that's too sad to talk about. So here it is anyway. And yeah, the idea is basically this can go here. Obviously we're going to take it off, move these into these grooves. They're just cut little grooves with a circular saw. And then this can go here somewhere, maybe a little bit like that or something. And then this can go up there, because this is where power is going in. And we're going to use this, I think, or at least we're going to have this available to us. And then if we want to, we can change things around. I'm going to look in on this a little bit more closely to see what it actually is, but it has like 5 volt or 3 volt, and yeah, it has a couple of different options, and it also has power for USB, but also regular pedal thing. So I think that could be good. And yeah, I think this is going to be a good outline. I also, before I forget, I did the same thing on the back. I cut these grooves here for these metal washers to sit in and be glued in, and I'm going to do that pretty soon. But I also, on the back here, I cut a groove with the circular saw, and one in the middle as well. And that is because we're going to have some wires for LEDs to lit up and things like that. And I don't want to have weird bulky things on the top. I don't want to confuse you when you're watching. I want what you're seeing to be what I'm building. I don't want it to be like, oh, well, where is that red wire going? And it's like, no, that's just for the LED. So I'm going to wire up everything on the back. And so I might have to add more grooves, but I don't think so. So basically this is the switch thingamajigs wiring. I hope that makes sense. And I might actually have to add one more groove like this up here to hold one of those DC, because we might want to have just a regular DC in without this. But if that's the case, I'll solve that at a later date, I think. I don't think I need to do that right away. So yeah, but this is a bigger base basically. Okay, so I'm just taking a quick break because I need to think things through a little bit. And I thought while I do that, I'll show you this. when you buy this kit, you get two RGB LEDs. And what that means is basically that they have more lights in them, because it's red, green, and blue. And so you'll have 4 pins in it, and one is ground, and then the other ones are for which color. Now, the way these boards work is that you have one line that is a plus and one that is ground. As you can probably tell here, they're drawn out. And then you have numbers and letters, and they go across. So all, for example, right here on 20, all of these are connected. So if I put something from there to there, and something from there to there, they are being connected here on the 20. So this row is 1, and then this row is 1, and this row is 1. So on this LED, I have all the legs on each separate row, and then a wire to each. So I can take this one, which is the second to last, and it's the ground, and I can hold it to the back of a battery, and then I can just take whichever one and show you. So now it lights up, and the first leg is the blue, and the second leg, that's the green, and I think the green one is really nice. And then the last one is the red. And I can take both of these, for example, and I can lit them up together. And you see how I get a different color, because I get this really nice, I don't know if it's as nice on the camera, but in real life it looks really nice, this bluish greenish color. And I can do the same thing with, for example, this blue one here and this red one here, and I can have both of them, and we should get, well, we're just getting red, which is a little bit strange. We should get both, but I think it's because on this one the blue is just so weak, it's not as good quality as some other ones. But you can probably see, I can make it disco. You can probably fix that by putting a resistor on the red side. Anyway, I just wanted to share that real quickly. Since I was going to do it anyway at some point, I might as well do it now while I'm having a little bit of a headache going. Okay, so here I have this metal bar that I've bent into shape. It's a very easy little thing to do, and it's basically the same thing as this one has, but this one has the hole for 2 switches, and it also has a hole for an LED. And the LED I'm going to use looks like this, and the center leg here is the ground leg. So if I take an LED to those 2 legs, you can see how it lights the red, and if I take to those 2 legs, you can see how it flickers green. Might be a little bit hard to see, but there it is. And the idea is basically this. We're going to take this off from here, and I'll show you what it looks like so that you understand what sort of wiring you can do if you want to build this. Because some of you have asked if you can see the inside of this so that you can make your own. And I've told you just follow my how to wire up a true bypass. Put alligator clippers instead of your effect. So the alligator clippers go here, you can see, and then the middle row goes to the 2 jacks. There's nothing special about it, nothing really that interesting. And we're gonna do the same thing, but we're gonna wire it a little bit different. So first off, we have to take this apart. Do super quickly. We unscrew here, and we'll put this to the side. Maybe we will use it again at some other time. And then we can just put this through here and put this ring on, and this as well. And there we have it. The 2 switches are in place, and I've put them at different heights for now at least, and it's just the convenience of it. And basically when this sits on top of this, it's going to get screwed down, and the jacks are going to sit here. I want to be able to press this, and it will go from true bypass to activating this switch, which will turn on the lights here. And this one will have the option with this switch to flicker, or flip, I mean, between the red and the green. And instead of having yellow connectors like these, we're going to have red and green. And so when the light is red, it's going to be connected to the 2 red of these, and when it's green, it's going to be connected to green. And I think that's going to be super helpful for A and Bing things, but I think it's also going to be a good way of showing you what it is I'm doing and why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it, and all of that. So I'm just going to hold this in place like so, and I'm going to take my awl, and I'm going to just mark out where I want to put these screws, like so, like so. I have 2 holes to drill. That's for later. First off, I need to clean this up a little bit so that I can put on new wires, because we're just going to do new wires, except for this wire here, which we're going to keep. Let's start with this switch right here. So we're going to need 2 clippers like these. We're going to try to cut them in half. So hold them together up here, pull them down like this, and fold them. And then that's where we're going to get them. Like so. That's the red ones. And here are the green ones. And they don't have to be 100% exactly the same length, because they're never going to be that anyway once we're done with them. But if they are at least somewhat the same, then, you know, that's good. And then we're going to take and strip them back just a little bit and pre-tin them. So I put a little bit of shrink tube on every one of these as well, just because these are going to be moving around and flopping around and be pulled in all different directions. So we want to make sure that the end of these are secured as good as they can. Now, this is the LED. It's pressed into this piece of wood that I glued into here. And it's just because if you look at the top here, I drilled the hole a little bit too big. I was a bit too fast when I was making this. Basically, the first leg up here is going to be connected to this row here, color-wise, but also LED-wise. But we have to make sure that when those 2 legs are touching, the middle leg is the ground, and the upper leg is the color of red. I don't know if you can see the LED blinking there when I press this in, but that means that the upper row here is where we'll connect the red cables. So I'm going to just take a little bit of solder, and I'm just going to attach one of these here, like so, and the other one over here, like so. And then we can pull these down, and I'll heat shrink them real soon. And then we can do the same thing with these. Right here, like so, right here. So, like that. And it will all make sense real soon, so don't worry about it. But there you have it. So now, I've soldered on cables to those legs there, and I put on a little bit of shrink tube, just so nothing touches it. And we can pull this one over here, and we can attach it here, to the middle leg here, something like so. And the same thing on this side here. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. If not, you can hear what I'm doing. And that is just heating up this leg, melting the solder, bonding them together, like so. Now, it looks like this. And we can push these down like so, and we can tuck these wires in a little bit like so, and maybe we'll put some zip tie or something on to keep them out of the way. Okay, so the next part is just putting in this wire here in the middle like so. Now we have a selector switch wire thing in place. So if we put this battery, just to show that it works, on this ground, hopefully you can see that the LED is red, and if I press this, it goes to green, which I don't know if you can tell because it's not that good. Can you tell? You can sort of tell. Anyway, this gets pulled all the way over here and attached to the upper leg on this switch. And the reason why we're going for the upper is because when this upper row is selected, the set of cables that we have here are engaged. Basically like the yellow wires before, only now we can also decide if we want them to be green or red. And so if I, for example, at some point build a pedal and I want to show two different kinds of diode clippings, I can put a set of diode clippings on the red and another set of diode clippings on the green, and then I can just press this switch here to go from one set to the other. Okay, so quickly, I've added a black wire here. Did the same thing, just added the black wire, put on a little bit of heat shrink into, and then in the middle here I added another wire. On the other end I'm going to put on a 1K resistor, but before then I just wanted to show you again, just because, you know, if someone is confused or something, I just want to show. Now hopefully you can see the light from over the camera is really strong, so it might not be visible, but now it's basically red, and if I press this it should turn green, which it does, and if I press it again we're back to red, which is a little bit easier to see. If I press this the light should go out, and it does. So everything is wired the correct way. Very good, very good. So let's continue. We're almost done. Almost. When the upper row is selected, we want the switch to be engaged. And when the lower, it's going to be true bypass, which is just this little switch right here. So first gonna just take this wire right here, and with a little bit of solder and a little bit of luck and love, I'm just gonna attach this wire. And that is gonna get pulled all the way. I'm just gonna pre-tin it a little bit, because it was a little bit too hard to attach, which is because I didn't pre-tin it, which I always do, but I actually forgot. It's gonna get pulled all the way over here and attached to this leg right here. It's super fiddly maybe to see this, and it's also super fiddly to do, but hopefully you can see that I'm attaching it. And I mean, obviously, I hope we are close enough friends now that you feel like you can, but if something is confusing, you know, you can talk to me in the comments below. Then the other one is getting connected here, just like so, and pulled over to this leg here. And then in here, I hope you can see, I'm just gonna attach it like so. Perfect, 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 like so. And we can pull these down, and I'm actually, just because I can, give me a sec. I don't even know why I didn't stop recording for this, but I'm actually gonna take and add a zip tie, just so these wires aren't dangling everywhere. So something like that. We can cut off the excess. Okay, so we have to add wires on these little legs on this side as well, which to some of you is obvious, but to some of you, you're here to learn, so I guess I better tell you. So just a little bit of solder on the tip, and we just connect a wire on each side, and it should just flow together like magic. And the same thing on the opposite side. I'm just going to move this around a little bit because it's easier for me to see what I'm doing. So something like that. And those two are going to get connected to the jack, but we're going to leave this for now because I need to do some measurements and check things out a little bit. That's the wiring basically done. Not completely, we do have some more things, but almost. But for now. Okay, so the first thing is, I don't know if you can see this, but I made a little mark there. So basically, somewhere around here, we need to drill a hole. Something like that. And I think I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger actually, because that was probably not enough. Yeah. The point of this hole is to pull the wires that are coming off the LEDs over to the other side, basically. So I'm just going to quickly make that hole a little bigger. Now the next thing that we have to do is right over here. You can't probably tell because I did it with black paint but maybe you can see there are some marks there. That's where the switch with all the legs and all the little things are. And so in that like in between area, I have to just drill out something like there. I just need to drill down maybe, let's say something like I don't know, let's say 5 millimeters, 6 millimeters, something like that, just to make a little dent, a spot for all the legs of the switch, because they are a little bit too long now and I don't want to fold things. It's not a good thing to do. So that's the way it looks right now. And now if I put this in here, it sits in that spot, the switch, without being basically pushed down. I don't know if you can see it, but there you can sort of see how everything is sort of in that area without having issue. And so now I could just take these two wires here, the ground and the lead for this thing, and I can just push them through this hole here. And then I can take the rest of this and just push this down into place like this. I can take my two screws that I used from the other one, and I can just start screwing them down into place. I'm gonna go just a little bit on each side first, like half the screw or something, and I'm gonna take the other one and screw that in as well. And then we can just break off these old there we have them, like so. And we can take this one back in and we'll cut this one down to size, like so, for now. And one jack will be over here, one jack will be here, like so. We're almost there. I'm just gonna mix up some two-part epoxy glue and just press these into place and leave them to dry for 5 minutes or something like that. I think it's 5-minute epoxy I have right here. So I'll be back real soon once the glue has dried, because you don't need to see me do that. If there's something you don't need to see me do, this is the thing you don't need to see me do. Okay, so I'm back, and I actually forgot to film soldering these two wires here in place. But they're just the wires coming off the switch. They're not that hard to understand. They're coming off the switch and they're going to the positive of the jacks, and the jacks are just glued in place just like they were before. There's nothing special really going on there. Don't necessarily need to see that. And over here, I'm going to do the same thing to this jack that I did on that jack, but this time I'm going to actually film doing it. So it's a good thing that I have two jacks. And I'm just removing the old heat shrink here so that we can attach a new wire. But we're not going to have exactly the same wire, because I'm actually going to put one of these jumper alligator clip things on here as well. Because if you've seen the other one, you know that that's an issue I always have. That one is always being problematic. So I'm going to look for a black one of these somewhere, and I'll be right back and we'll attach that there and have that one there. Let's take this jack here and just attach one of these, and hopefully everything will go as I want it to. So just take a little bit of solder on my soldering iron. Yeah. And we take one of these and we just attach it like so. And then we just take the heat shrinking tube and we pull it over. And the reason why I'm putting heat shrinking tube on this one and not on the other one is very easily, basically just because it will stiffen this whole thing up a little bit, and it will help make sure that this doesn't break, because these cables are going to flop around and they're going to be connected and they are going to be going everywhere. And I just want to make sure that the chance for them to break is as small as possible. Okay, so I've been thinking a little bit, and I really don't like having these just pulling here. They will at some point be broken off, because it's too much and it's too floppy. So I've marked out 2 markings right there, which you can't see, but they're there. And I'm gonna just drill 2 little holes like that. And then on the back here, I'm just gonna break this wood a little bit so that I can get to this hole a little bit easier. And now I'm gonna take a zip tie, here I have it, and I'm gonna push it. I can push this through here, have it go around here, take my 2 wires that I need to also capture in this, put them in place, make sure they lie exactly where I want them. And I can push this back through the other side, like so. And now I have this little locking thing here, and so I can just lay these cables in to here. Not gonna get the ground, come on, get out of there, in there with it, but so something like that. They lie they lie neatly, and I just see that I put it in backwards. I need to redo that. Then I can just pull on this, make sure everything lies nice, push this in here and lock all of them off. And I have to pull at this and move it a little bit, like so, and just push them back so that they are not lying, so they're lying sort of loose there, but then here they're being locked down. Now if I pull at these, I don't pull at the joint. You can see how the cables, or maybe you can't, wait. You can see how the cables are lying sort of loose there, but if I pull at them here, and I'm not pulling like everything I have, because well, there's no point in doing that, but they are not moving, they're basically staying put. So that's good. I'm gonna see if I can pull at this a little bit more, just to get that very tight as I can. Here we have it now, and so your guitar will go in here, and it will go to this switch, and it's gonna get bypassed to this jack here that will go to your amp. Or you press it, the LED will light up, and if it's red, it will be these 2 that are connected. But if you press this, it will turn green, and these 2 will be connected. And that is going to be super helpful, I think. And so, hopefully, you agree. What I did was I drilled a hole here for the cables to come up, and I took my router and I just continued this line here, because you obviously get a weird little edge when you're using your circular saw because of the curvature of the blade. I'm going to put some feet on it, because I want feet in every corner. So something like that. 1 there, and 1 there, and then 1 over here, and 1 over here. Because I don't want it moving around and scratching up my table or floor or anything, you know, depending on where it is. I was thinking that I would just stick this down there, but I really don't like how like unraised it is, which for you might not look like anything or mean anything, but I want it up a bit, basically. So, cut out a little piece of wood for it, just the same size, and now it just lifted up a little bit. So, I'm gonna just take these screws here, and I'm just gonna basically eyeball it. I think I want it like there, maybe. And I'll just screw it down. And the good thing about this is that I can make a new one of these raised for this one later down the line if I want to. It's gonna stick out a little bit on each side, but it's not that bad. It's not more than like 1 mil or 2 mils max on each side. So, forcing it down so that the screw is underneath the wood. So, and now we can take this and we can peel back this tape Let's see if I can do it without ruining everything for myself. It is fiddly. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Whew. And it's down. I'm gonna press it and just move my hand around a little bit, like so. Now it's in place. Very, very good. And yeah, start up the soldering iron. Did you guys see it from above and not from the angle that I'm sitting at? And didn't tell me that it is a little bit off? Oh well, it's too late. It's just gonna be a little bit wonky. That is so... Why did you stop me? It's so wonky. It is so wonky. It's so... It's gonna drive me crazy. We are gonna put on some extension cables on these so that we can pull them through. And just have some extra cable. I'm gonna try to find some. Okay, so we heat up the soldering iron. We pre-tin the extension wire and we attach it with a little bit of solder. And we take our next cable. I'm gonna go for red now because I want a black wire and a red wire. That's what I want. I hope this is the... Oh my god, I'm an idiot. This one isn't long enough. I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. Give me a second and I'll fix it. Before we throw everything out, let's just take this wire here as well. Come on, get up. It's no time for sleeping. And we add this one. Come, solder together. Something like that. And they are attached to each other. And we can push them in here and then just pull them out on the other side. And then before I pull them out, I'm gonna add some heat shrink just to make this joint here a little bit better. Maybe I'll add the heat shrink first. Push it through with an awl, because that's maybe a better way to do it. I don't know. Something like that. And we'll cut off the very top here because it's a little bit silly looking now. And we'll just take these two wires and we'll push them through like so. And then we can just push everything in to this cavity. This wiring here is coming loose, so I'm gonna add some solder to it and just push everything into this cavity here and just pull at everything a little bit extra. And now they are out the other end, and I can heat up and shrink it all down. And I'll do the same here on the back, just trying to shrink it down so that it's all sort of locked in place. And I'll take some masking tape for now, just because we don't need to overdo this right now. And just, I'll cover up all of this so that it's not super obvious what I'm doing, but nothing can be silly. And now I'll just strip these back a little bit. And we will pre-tin them. And now, if we dim the lights, something like that, hopefully that is enough. And now, if we hold the battery up here, we can see, here we have the light. I'm going to zoom in, because I don't know if you're going to be able to see the light. But there it is. And if I press this, it turns on. Green and red. On, off, and then green and red. If I'm building something where these two jacks, the ground just needs to go together, I can put them like this. But then I have this thing flopping around and it's not super nice. So I am gonna drill a tiny little hole right here. Doesn't really matter where. I'm gonna add this screw in there. Just screw it in to place. And you can't see that I'm screwing because my hands are in the way. But hopefully you know how to do the motion of screwing in a screw. and you don't actually need to see me doing so. Now, obviously I know, and you know that I know, and we all know that everyone knows, I could just attach them to this plate right here, but it's nice to be able to, for example, put them out of their own misery. So, there and there. Now they're out of everyone's hair, if you have hair. Okay, so with continuity mode, I can figure out that this connection here is the positive in on this. And so I'm quickly gonna solder a resistor there. And it's just because I want this permanently there, and I want it all to be very good and just great. So let's just quickly do it. Something like that. And with this extra leg here from a piece of wire, no one will notice anything. So I'm just gonna take and get myself some heat shrink tube, just a little bit, like so, and open it up if I can, and pull it over here, and try to cover up as much as possible so that nothing can touch anything. And it's just because I don't want to have to spend any of these extra connections that these come with thinking about anything. I don't think I'll ever use this USB thing, but I don't want to waste those connections anyway. I want to keep these pins open and available to me for whatever idea I get next. And so we can take this one and bring it back in, and we can put down a little bit of flux on these two connections, and then we can take our solder. And I'm actually starting to run out of solder, so I'm gonna have to go and get some more. But anyway, yeah, so let's start off by attaching this ground wire over here. That's where it's gonna go. And then this is gonna go over here, up and over, like so, and just heat it up to shrink it down. Something like that. It's not perfect, but it looks decent enough. It might have been out of frame, but there it is. And we can put this over here somewhere. I'm probably gonna put it up a little bit like this actually. So I need to think about that for a bit and create some sort of spacer. Okay, so here we have a little wood bracket thing that I did super quickly and easy, and I just glued it in place. And now I'm just going to glue it down here in this corner like so. I'm just going to hold it in place like this and leave it there to dry for a little bit. We have a couple of wires, and we have yeah, everything is good. Last thing to do is put down some tape on each side here for labels, just in case someone is looking at this and they're confused or something. I'm just gonna have some tape, and I'm gonna try to write so that you can read it, but yeah, might not happen. Sorry. Gonna see if I can find a pen. So this is the in. I hope you can read that. This pen is it's not very good, so I'm probably gonna have to replace this. Tape. In, big, out, small. And then here is true bypass. Can you read that? No, you can't. There's no way. Anyway, and here is selector, I suppose. Okay, that I'm gonna print labels or something, because you can't read that either. It was really hard to write on this surface. I think it's because it's a little bit scrubbly. But anyway, here it is now. The new Army switch pedal version 2. We should write number 2 on it. Wait, give me a sec. Maybe I can get one of those label maker things. That could be cool. Christmas is coming up soon. Maybe I can get it for Christmas. That could be something. Tape, fold, then pen. Let's hope I can make a number 2. There we go. And if anyone in future videos ask me why there's a number 2 there, then we will all know that they didn't subscribe until after this was made. Well, that's the end of this video. Huh. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked it. Here it is. It's a little bit bigger, but it's not that bad. It has a bunch of options and thingamajigs that we are gonna experiment with in another video where we start building more difficult and weird things. Or at least we'll see what happens. I hope this was helpful in some way. Let me know in the comments below if it was. And if you're new here, don't forget to press the like and the subscribe button. Press the like button also if you like the video. Not just if you're new here, but you know. That lets me know that you appreciate the content that I'm making and that you think I should continue. If you want to build this thing and something in this video was not something that you weren't sure of, then you can talk to me in the comments below. Or if we can't solve it in the comments below, we can talk over on Instagram. Here I talk to a lot of you and help you out, so don't be afraid to talk to me there. But anyway, until next time, stay awesome and cool. And go and build your very own version of this. Maybe you want even more switches and even more LEDs. If you buy that kit thing, you get the option to have an LED with actually more lights, which I might switch this out for, because the LED I had wasn't that good. But anyway, we might see what happens in the future. But yeah, go build that thing. I think you're gonna like it. It's really good to have something like that. I'm already thinking of maybe I'll add some sort of like potentiometer holder thing or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But now I'm gonna go. So